Was he fit to be president?
Yeah, obviously he's done an amazing job.
So why is he not carrying on fighting the race?
He's not a good candidate.
Right, so how can he be a brilliant president? How can he be a brilliant president?
That's awesome. Thank you. Yes, political parties don't have to be democratic at all. They're like, there's no, because they're not the government. They're private political parties. They don't have to be democratic.
If that's the case, then Kamala is Joe Biden 2.0, and we should tie this entire disastrous administration on Kamala Harris.
Please, let's do it. Please, let Kamala run on Biden's record. Biden's record is so good. I've done so much reading on Biden's records too.
Where was everybody for the last 6 years calling for unity when Donald Trump was president? And as far as the violence is concerned, I feel like any effort to try to pin, again, the onus on Democrats in terms of lowering the temperature in this country is just a testament to the fact that the Republicans are rated on the herd. Remember, it was not the Democrats. While we're talking about political violence, it wasn't the Democrats who laughed at Paul Pelosi being bludgeoned with a hammer. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't.
Yes, true. Yes, and fucking and cheer that on. And the Second Amendment guys quote about Hillary Clinton and literally running on locking Hillary Clinton up. Yes.
Democrats called for military tribunals for Liz Cheney. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats who laughed at a kidnapping plot against Gretchen Whitmer. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats.
Yes, the Whitmer plot.
So if you could scientifically engineer the worst possible candidate for Trump to run against, she would probably look like Kamala Harris. Why would she look like Kamala Harris?
Well, instead of this election becoming a referendum on Joe Biden's age, now it's a referendum on two things. It is one, the fact that we now have a prosecutor going up against a convicted felon, and she is able to, no pun intended, prosecute this case extremely effectively.
Coconut tree is underway. God help you.
What do you think?
Oh, I think she should go for Buttigieg. It should be the great woke square ticket. You gay guys stick together.
You can't have it both ways. Democrats, liberals, leftists, you either celebrate DEI or we're not allowed to talk about DEI, but you can't have it both ways.
Be proud of the fact that an African woman, Caribbean American woman, Indian, whatever, all over different things. You can't even figure out what she is.
It is the Democrats who for 8 years have screamed that he's Adolf Hitler. That's fairly violent.
Dude, I can't, dude. Me, when people have two parents, it's such a dumb talking point that I've seen all over Twitter for some reason. Democrats can't decide if Kamala Harris is Indian or black. Both? This is what? You have two parents? One was Indian, one was black.
Piers, if Donald Trump acts like a fascist, it is not the Democrats' fault for calling him a fascist. That's his
Bro.
I don't want to compare people to Hitler, but I will say that...
Is it black there?
Here it comes. Yeah. Oh, come on. You're a shill for your guy. You've always been there.
Kamala Harris needs...
Wait, what did he say?
I will say that...
Is it black there?
Here it comes. Yeah. Oh, come on. You're a shill for your guy. You've always been there.
Did he say you're a shield for your guy Trump?
Is it black there?
Here it comes. Yeah. Oh, come on. You're a shill for your guy. You've always been there.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris needs a running mate. And because I read and watch all the news, I think I know who he'll be. He's sharp, he's fit, he's a strategic thinker. In fact, he's one of the sharpest tacks in DC. He's quite decisive and intelligent, an experienced leader with a track record of success whose energy levels put the rest of us to shame. Most importantly,
he's going to say Buttigieg, right?
Only Democrat can beat Donald Trump. This top pick for VP is, of course, Joe Biden. And the only reason we know all these things about him is because each and every one of those superlatives is a genuine quote from a Biden supporter in the months before the train wreck CNN debate, which exposed them all to be complete nonsense. I refer them again because the narratives driving this election keep changing rapidly, and there's a big movement underway right now to rewrite the script again.
We're jazzed, we're pumped, we're excited, we got a great candidate.
Dude, she could pick Biden as a VP. It'd be really funny. I think she should do it. It'd be funny.
We've always had a great message.
And then as soon as he gets in office, she should resign and make Biden president again.
Candidate who can deliver that message.
A feeling for the first time in many months that this is not only a winnable race, but that they can really slam Donald Trump.
I was like, I kind of fell in love with her. I thought she was smart, engaging, she's funny, feisty, twinkle in your eye.
I'm jumping out of my seat over here watching this. I think people have been thirsting for this.
She is all over TikTok. She has turned things that seemed cringy into making her seem cool. Like, this feels Obama-level energy, and Trump was not ready for it.
That's hilarious, isn't it? As I said all week, the Kamala Harris campaign has a lot to go for it. This race is a lot closer to call, I suspect, than it was 4 days ago, and Donald Trump needs a smart and disciplined response. But is this real enthusiasm for the savior? Or the manufactured enthusiasm that comes with an unexpected second chance with someone who, by the way, has been vice president the entire time? Is this record-breaking fundraising because they feel like this is a brave new world, or the logical result of disenchanted donors return to the party now the losing candidate is gone? Is this really Obama energy, or is it Chuck Schumer's audience energy?
Now that the process has played out, from the grassroots bottom up, we are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm clapping. You don't have to.
Hashtag orcs. A grassroots bottom-up campaign with a process that has played out in full. Really? I thought President Obama, Nancy Pelosi, George Clooney, and a bunch of billionaires...
go on TikTok, bro. We'll look at all the brat edits, bro. Clearly a grassroots movement. That's why the brat edits work, and the Pokemon Go to the polls didn't work. It was cringe because Hillary Clinton made it up herself. It was a very, very top-down meme versus the brat edits are a bottom up Gen Z curated grassroots movement for Kamala Harris.
Donors just got together and made Biden an offer he couldn't refuse. But that's the line the Democrats are running with, and Kamala Harris took it to her first rally as presumptive nominee last night.
We are running a people-powered campaign. And because we are a people-powered campaign, that is how you know we will be a people-first presidency.
People-powered campaign, says Ms. Harris, but yet not a single person has voted for Kamala Harris to be the presidential candidate in 2020 or in 2024. She appeared at the top of the ticket by default. Of course, Trump tells some whoppers too. I've called out many of them over the years. I'll continue to do so. But it's certifiably insane election as anything at all. It's important to see what's in front of your own eyes. To butcher a phrase, if Trump says it's raining and Kamala says the sun is out, I'll probably look out the window myself and make my own decisions. And my first two guests tonight know a thing or two about attempting to control the narrative and what can happen when it spirals out of control. And I bring them together at last for the debate you never knew you wanted, but I've always wanted to have. Former New York Democrat Congressman Anthony Weiner.
Wait, I didn't realize. That's why do they have George Santos here?
Gentlemen, that's a piece of history in the making, right?
Dude. First of all, also, why is Piers Morgan's camera quality so low? Like, like I have it on 1080p. I have it on the premium 1080p too, with the enhanced bitrate, but it's still so low. It looks like literally a broadcast from like 2008. I literally can't tell the difference between 1080p and 720p. They look the same. I don't know. I'm gonna keep it 720p. There's no point in making it look better if it looks like shit anyway. And then also, it's so funny to me that George Santos has been like just in like Twitter spaces and debates like this now. Like since he's not in Congress anymore, he's somehow still maintained a little bit of relevance by being in Twitter spaces with Ed and Brian Krasenstein and fucking doing this debate, I guess.
Great to see you both on set here.
You Trump shills are freaking out, aren't you? You don't know what the attack is going to be.
It's very well. Here's the interesting question, isn't it? I'm seeing all the excitement for Kamala Harris, but I believe it will be quite a short-lived honeymoon, and then reality will kick in. 4 months. I spoke to Trump on Saturday night, and I said, "How are you feeling about it?" He said, "Listen, if one thing I've learned in the last 3 weeks, 4 months is going to be a very, very long time in this political cycle." And he's right. First of all, this decision by Joe Biden tonight to address the nation, but almost certainly not to resign the presidency.
Also, wait, like he's the worst possible person to have on here defending Trump because, like, I don't know if he has admitted to it, but Congress found him fucking guilty of lying. What's up, Lusty Tuck? Welcome to the stream. Like, why? Like, when he's literally been expelled from Congress over, like, the multiple allegations of him lying. Bo Jiden, it's cool. True. Thank you, Chunky Monkey 11 Based. Welcome to the stream. I don't know why you would ever have this guy be a steel man for Trump.
To say, I'm going to carry on being president until January. Is that really feasible? I mean, most of the world will keep this going. Hang on. You've quit the race because you're basically too infirm, cognitively clearly in decline. You've been bullied into it because you didn't want to go by all the grandees of the party and the donors. Is it really realistic or good for the country or good for Kamala Harris that he continues to be president?
Well, you're speaking for most of the country here.
Well, I'm asking you.
No, you said most of the country. Listen, most of the country.
No, most of the world, I said.
Most of the world.
Not necessarily America.
Thank you for speaking for the world, Piers.
I like to think it's a global.
Bo Jiden is old. He is pretty old.
Yeah, you're totally a spokesman for the globe, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
But look, I mean,
my trailer.
it's too different. He's a lousy candidate and a great president. There's your answer.
Was he fit to be president?
Yeah, obviously he's done an amazing job.
So why is he not carrying on fighting the race?
He's not a good candidate.
Right, so how can he be a brilliant president? How can he be a brilliant president? But then
That's awesome. Thank you. Yes. Oh my God, that was like a perfect response tree, I guess. Yeah. why is he in the race then? Oh, he's not a good candidate. Like, but I think he's done an incredible job.
All the people in his party think he's got no chance.
Bo Biden is L. What are your thoughts? I like Bo Jiden.
I was a Congressman doesn't necessarily mean I'd be a British talk show host. Just cut it out. Look, the American people said both candidates are too old. One of them got out. Now one of them's too old. The parties exist to choose the strongest candidates. We have a stronger candidate than we had a couple of weeks ago. That's why you're losing your mind trying to figure out how to attack her.
I'm not losing my mind.
True.
You played 32 stocks about how, oh my goodness, you're trying to make a different narrative. We're not trying to make a narrative.
No,
let me finish my thought. We're not making a narrative. We're making a president. And it's two choices. And it is Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And that's why your boy and your team is freaked out.
It's not my boy or my team.
Oh, come on. You're a shill for your guy Trump. You've always been that way.
I'm not. And he would be the last to say I was. I've been critical of him more than anybody last year.
Look, you have not been critical of him more than anybody. It's not true at all. That's in a Trump rally event. Which rally event? Do you mean did anything notable happen at whatever recent rally event it is? I don't know.
George, your response to this? I mean, Joe Biden is apparently such a brilliant president that that's why he had to quit the race.
He's brilliantly in decline. He's brilliantly stupid. I mean, the president, unfortunately.
What, this one? First rally since Biden leaves the shooting? Oh, well then just say the shooting, not the rally. I mean, Trump shooting made me sad. That's it. That's the answer. Like,
is an utter disaster. The country's never been in a worse condition than it's been in the last 3 years under Joe Biden. Joe Biden is unfit to run, so he is therefore unfit to continue to be president. Herr said it in his report. He was a frail old man with poor memory. That's not the description of the president of the United States that we should expect to have. And furthermore, when my guy is 82, then he'll be too old. And at that point, he'll be done with his second term in office. So if we're going to talk about age, if Joe Biden was allowed to stay until 82, my guy, Donald Trump, is going to be able to stay until he's 82.
Listen, the American people have repeatedly said one thing, and that is that they don't like either of these guys that were running because they think they're both too old. Right now, Donald Trump is older than it was when Ronald Reagan left with dementia. Leftist. He's too old. And if you want to talk about the accomplishments of Joe Biden, the only one president in American history who's ever lost jobs, and it was Donald Trump.
He also had a global pandemic, Anthony.
So maybe we shouldn't count the fourth year of his office.
Oh, come on.
Okay, let's take the first 3 years then.
Would a Democrat president have not lost the same number of jobs in that year.
Oh, are you kidding? Of course not. You forget you did show after show about what a disaster Donald Trump was. Talking about having bleach, talking about all of the decisions that were made at that time. Managing a crisis is part of the job, and you can't say, oh, well, the first 3 years were great, and then
how would the Democrats have stopped the job losses in that pandemic?
Well, one of the things we were doing had a consistent policy.
Your policy was to lock everyone at home.
First of all, that happened under Donald Trump. Let's settle down, guys. You guys are doing the same thing that your cult leader does. You've got to realize 2020, your guy was in charge. Are we clear on that?
He was my guy, but Andrew Cuomo.
Last time I checked, I'm not an American.
No. That was all as a result of the orders that came out of the Republican-controlled Department of Health at the time. Stop carrying on with this idea that was supposed to be memory hole an entire quarter of the guy. The guy was fired. The guy was fired because he was lousy at COVID. Don't you remember that?
If he's so bad, Trump, my guy, as you put it, if he's so bad,
just own it, Piers.
If he's so bad, I've always.
He's my guy.
I love this. I'm a balanced guy. Piers, we know what you are.
Okay.
Just own it. It's fine.
Unlike you with Trump, I've always tried to be fair-minded.
I like this guy. This guy's awesome.
Criticize him when he deserves it, and I praise him when I think he deserves praise. It's the old-fashioned way of covering.
That's the standard line for people who are in the bag for Trump.
Because I'm not a partisan politician figure. I'm not.
You're a partisan for Trump.
No, I'm not.
You clearly look. All I say to you is Google Piers Morgan, Piers and Donald Trump, and you
read every
but anyway,
column I've
let's give you 2-on-1. I could do guys with 4 more people out here again.
What would you do, freak Bob?
I'm actually impressed you only have 2.
Here's my question for you: If Trump is so awful, if he's so disastrous, if everybody hates him so much, if he's the worst president of all time, blah blah blah, if he's the new Hitler, as all the left love to say,
and Vance likes to say,
how is it that he's currently leading the polls?
Because we're a partisan country. Are you new?
No,
I recognize this is not a Staten Island. But you must know. At this table,
he's up against the best president you've ever seen.
Hey, Piers, if this table was running on a Republican line, you would have 44%.
No, Anthony, that's not fair. That's not fair.
But why is somebody who lost to Joe Biden now much more popular than Joe Biden?
Much more popular? Let's not get carried away.
Much more popular. Far more popular.
Trump's approval ratings this week have been his highest ever.
The bottom, yes.
And Kamala Harris has
probably because it's after the shooting. Is that really true? They're the highest ever now. They're still not very good. We looked at it earlier in stream. I should remember it, but favorable 42%. Yeah, highest ever. Not by like a ton. Pretty close over here, but yeah. Oh wait. I thought I saw it reach 42 earlier, but I think it was just 40.2. It's never been at 42% before. All right.
He ran against.
He went up 3 points.
Kamala Harris has lower approval ratings
more popular
than Donald Trump.
That's right. He's never been more popular. He's one of the most unpopular figures in American political life.
You know who's more unpopular? Your guy.
100%. That's why he's not running anymore. Let's go Kamala Harris.
Welcome back.
If you want to quote polls, take a look.
Kamala Harris
she's net up 14% in approval ratings. Listen, I get what you're trying to do. You're trying
to do.
I'm about to say.
That was weirdly paranoid.
That was a beginning.
You're laughing at all the Let's Go Brandon shirts of the children in Africa we get.
Brandon, it's weird kind of. They're all out to get us.
Let me finish my thought.
I'm trying to host a general debate.
Oh my god. They're yelling right now. Have you seen the Republicans trying to come out with a here, right-wingers trying to coming up with a clever replacement to Let's Go Brandon? I'm gonna say the N-word. Campaign 24. Which message will appeal to voters? I think dictatorship by balance is bad. N-word.
Let me finish with that. You're trying to take this dynamic that has emerged where the Democrats now have put in a better candidate than they had. I'll stipulate to that. No one disagrees with that. And you're ignoring the fact that the single biggest unifying coalition in America.
What political party are you? I'm pretty aligned with the Democrats and everything. For the most part.
History is people who don't want Donald Trump to return to power. And now it looks like we're going to get that way, right? So let's have that conversation.
But serious question. Do you actually believe that Kamala Harris is the solution here? I know she's getting a great press. But again, the reason I played
solution, what do you mean solution?
To winning. The reason I played the mainstream media talking about it, is that they've gone from having done all this with Biden all year and denied the obvious that we could see and hear with our own ears and eyes. What they've done with Biden in the last 3 weeks is turn their knife into him and suddenly say, actually, he's useless. Now they're picking up something they've also trashed.
I saw the former intro. I know your point, but I can tell you, something like 60% of the American people have said repeatedly over and over again, both candidates are too old. This whole idea of, the media told us he was a young threat.
Have you watched TV for the last year?
He's old, my dude.
James Scarborough said he was the sharpest attack and impressive, and he had a hard time keeping up with him. But for months the media lied. For months the Democrat Party said Joe Biden was incredibly talented. No, Anthony, you can't piss on my like
it's the Democratic Party. It's not the Republican Party. It's not the Democratic Party. What do you even know the name of the party?
The Democratic Party lied to the American people consistently.
The Democratic Party controls the media, obviously. Don't you know the entire conservative narrative?
I know enough if you're going to make a reference.
So Bryson DeChambeau has his...
let's talk about Donald Trump's golf game.
Yeah.
What is with this obsession with Donald Trump?
You just said he's too old to be president. If you watch an hour of him playing golf with the current US Open champion, Bryson
How about this? I got a better idea.
Let's watch him at a rally. Let's watch him at the second best round he did for this.
Let's watch him at a rally. Let's watch him at a rally call Nancy Pelosi and Nikki Haley for the 4 times in a row. Let's talk about him. I want to get a question. Let's talk about him. Let's talk about him say that EVs can't fly when it's raining or whatever it is. The guy is demented, but that's cool. We're gonna have an election now and we're gonna learn about it. One thing that every poll that you reported said both guys are seen as too old, and a lot of people hated both people. Well, now one of them is out, and now we just have one old demented dude.
Who should she choose as her VP? Who would be the
some white guy?
Who would be the smart?
Let's get a quota higher in. Some white guy.
Who would be the smart play?
I don't know. Probably Governor Waltz or Shapiro, one of those guys. So we have to put a Senate race in play.
What do you think?
Oh, I think she should go for Buttigieg. Should be the great woke square ticket.
You gay guys stick together.
Oh, absolutely.
That's been good.
Absolutely.
It's been good.
Yeah. What the hell is that? woke square ticket when George Santos himself is gay. Like,
interesting about her speech yesterday, which is quite impressive, I thought, is that she didn't really go very woke. I mean, she really stuck to what are going to be the big attack.
What does woke mean? What does it mean?
It means when I can tell you what it means in modern day. What it used to mean.
But why did you add him? That wasn't even. That was Twitch. Twitch blocked it.
I think woke is a all-encompassing mindset. And Elon Musk has called it the woke mindset virus, where you basically virtue signal
And
over
Peterson,
facts. You play the victim. You try and cancel anyone, anyone that doesn't agree with you.
What's an example?
Anything you like.
That's not an answer. You use the expression, you know what it means. Woke to me means awake. It means woke.
No, come on, no. You guys are woke.
You want to beat up transgender people. You want to burn books.
No, we want pornographic books out of schools. We want men out of girls.
By the way, DeSantis, his campaign all about woke.
Dude, like, why would you, like, hey, Honor, would you have George Santos on to discuss this when he was literally caught being a fucking drag queen in Brazil before he moved here? Like, nice technique.
It was rejected by the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. So keep it up, guys. Keep woking it out. And by the way, I saw you stumble over what woke is because people use it at this point as a cudgel.
I'm about to give you an example.
I know, I'm going to talk first. But you use it as a cudgel, and by the way, it's unpopular, so keep it up, my man.
I agree. This is why she didn't go there and why Trump has actually backed off it a bit. But if you want an example of what I'm talking about, which she supports, by the way, it is the absolutely disgraceful farce of allowing biological males to compete against women in women's sports. Right?
Which is abhorrent. You
ignore facts. You want to virtue signal about fairness.
Tell me a little bit about what the president has done about that, or what Kamala Harris has done about that, or what Congress has done about that. Why did you guys focus on the fact that American people, and then you get up in the morning, they're trying to figure out how they're going to raise their...
When it's Fallout 1? I don't think I'm ever playing Fallout 1, unless I might play the, Will you shout out my country? Oh, if only I could. I don't think I'll ever play Fallout 1 unless it's like a 3D recreation of it.
Kids, get them to a quality school, get them to mass transit that works. Live in a world
the Gen Z brain can't handle 2D games. Or I can do 2D games. It's just not, I just don't really like 2D RPGs. Like, I can play Mario. I can play 2D platformers, but I don't really like the 2D RPGs. It's just I just grew up spoiled.
It's not boiling at the seams. Do you think they're really saying, boy, I hope that someone doesn't run against my daughter at camp?
Dude, you keep saying please don't ban. That's Twitch, because you're saying the N-word. Twitch doesn't let you say that.
You don't have a daughter, do you? I have a daughter at 12, right?
He's a lovely young man.
I have three lovely
Jordan. If you're watching this show, Jordan, you're the only 12.
I have 3 lovely sons too, but my daughter is 12. She was
I mean, I don't really. He's just like any message that he tries to send, it's just getting auto blocked. I don't really care to ban him unless he actually starts getting some through.
Fair track, right?
Complain to your school board. Don't complain to the president of the United States. Don't try to divide our country over these issues. If you want, we can come up with issues that we think are wedge issues. We saw Ron DeSantis run an entire campaign on this. He got like 4% of the vote.
Yeah, it's your country. It's not, though.
People care about what Democrats are talking about. Having an economy that's humming again.
Should have please. I'll play New Vegas at some point.
Not
vote for me, President of the United States. I am
not
Brent
being in a
Peterson.
situation where you have a vice presidential candidate on the Republican line who believes what most Americans do, which your friend Donald Trump is a sexual abuser.
All right, okay, hang on. I'm going to play another clip from Kamala's speech. This is where she talks about abortion rights. Take a look at this.
And we, who believe in reproductive freedom, will stop Donald Trump's extreme abortion bans because we trust women to make decisions about their own body and not have their government tell them what to do.
How important do you think?
I'm not gonna, I know it's a country. I'm not going to look it up.
Like, and how confusing is the Republican position on this?
Didn't go on Fallout 3. I haven't played that many single player video games. I've been either editing, streaming, or playing Fortnite. Or just being too lazy to do anything.
Here's the deal. Abortion rights, it should be a non-starter. We resolve that with the Dobbs decision. It's a states' right. I don't understand. The Republicans are falling into the Democrat trap of making this election about abortion and deflecting about the issues of the border, deflecting about public safety. When Anthony here says, hold on, let me finish. When Anthony says that Americans just want to get to work and do their job and support their families, how about allowing and creating an environment where Americans can get to work alive? Because in many cases right now, the crime is absolutely rampant. Just yesterday, an 18-year-old...
abortion.
Crime is falling, by the way, and continues to fall.
I answered. My position on abortion is irrelevant. Trump's position has been very clear. It's a state's issue. It's a state's issue.
So he's in favor of what it is in New York.
Well, it's a state's issue.
Right, so he's in favor of what it is in New York.
The Constitution, the 10th Amendment supports that. The states decide what's best for themselves. So that's a done deal. Stop trying to federalize abortion.
I just want to understand. And maybe you can explain, Piers, because you're close to the
No, you don't want to understand. You want to rope Republicans into your abortion. No, we don't have to talk abortion.
It is kind of an issue.
It's a non-issue.
I just want to understand it. The Republicans' position on abortion has always been that they're pro-life, right? But now they apparently are pro-choice because they say they want to let New York decide and we decide. Okay, so what is the position of Donald Trump on the fundamental? I've never met a politician, and I know George is not one of these, who doesn't have a position on abortion. It's a fundamental right. Go ahead. What is it?
What he's made it clear from
falling with no actual change. Almost like we have no control. True. He wishes, will you please shout out my country? You're my fave streamer.
And the Supreme Court appointments that he's made.
He believes that
you're not even following me.
Right? Which is not unreasonable.
It's not unreasonable.
However, his overarching belief is it should return to the states to make decisions.
Okay, but that's not the overarching belief. You either believe that a woman has this constitutional right to her own body, or you don't. And the Supreme Court has said there is no such right. One state can decide one thing, another state can decide. And what I'm asking is, what is the position of Donald Trump?
Central Africa needs exposure, bro. If this guy was actually from Central Africa, it wasn't just trying to say the N-word, maybe I'd be open it. President Trump said his position is no late-term abortion. Let the states sort out the rest. But the problem is, like, Trump isn't very... He's also bragged about overturning Roe v. Wade. Like, Trump just isn't very clear on exactly what he wants. makes a vague promise about an abortion compromise. Trump said he would be a voice of consensus on abortion, but didn't specify how. Let me just tell you what I do. I'm going to come together with all groups, and we're going to have something that's acceptable. Trump flourished from a national abortion ban. After reports surfaced that he told others he was considering a federal abortion ban in 16 weeks, his campaign dismissed them as fake news. Soon after, Lindsey Graham told NBC Trump is warming up to 16 weeks, and then Trump himself in an interview suggested he supported a 15-week ban. Like, Trump just, he doesn't have like a super cohesive policy on like all of these things, so.
In New York's position.
Roe v. Wade is the court decision that effectively made law. Our law shouldn't be determined. Law shouldn't be determined by appointed officials. Should have went through Congress and made federally legal, but it wasn't put up in the past 50 years. Biden has done nothing about. What do you mean Biden said that? He can't do a ton about it because because we don't have the Senate votes. So like he can't codify Roe v. Wade. Doesn't have the Senate votes. Let's see tech, and then. He has signed multiple executive orders trying to protect abortion medication, which is the most he can do. Why are Democrats running on fixing Roe when they can't? Because if they get enough Senate seats, then they can. You know that, right? And also, again, they can, number one, they won't institute any abortion ban, which Donald Trump has at least suggested that he might support. And number two, he won't do any, not with the filibuster. Well, what do you mean? You need I think we need 60 votes in the Senate to codify Roe v. Wade to get rid of to close the filibuster, right? Biden abortion executive order. Look at that spelling, guys. President Biden signed an executive order protecting access to reproductive health care services. Safeguarding access to reproductive health services, including abortion and contraceptives. The most he can do is sign executive orders basically protecting access to abortion medication, to like the chemical abortion that you can do in the first few weeks. And like it. Wow, thanks, Chunky Lucky. The executive order builds on an action administration already taken a friend rights by safeguarding access to reproductive health care services, including contraceptive, protecting the privacy of patients' access to accurate information, promoting the safety and security of patients, providers, and clinics, and coordinating the implementation of federal efforts to help reproductive rights access to health care. Didn't Democrats have majority power for like Obama 2 years? They're running. Yeah, but they just didn't do it. Like, they could have done it, but it just wasn't an issue at the time. But I think technically they could have done it at the time, yeah.
Which is a very generous abortion law.
It's beyond generous.
That is a trend. Really, in what way?
Come on, Anthony Weiner. In the state of New York, there are no limits to abortion at this point. If you slice it and dice it the way it is.
You believe the federal government should be in that decision?
I don't believe the federal government
should. So it should only be the woman and a doctor.
I'm going to make this very clear. In the state of New York, a woman at the 6th month of gestation is allowed to have an abortion. I was born at the 6th month of gestation. So to say that there's no life, it's just a feeling of size. I think government. No, I think that's a personal decision.
Legislature.
A personal decision.
George,
a personal decision between
Donald Trump says it should be the legislature.
But let the legislature decide. It's voted by the people.
Donald Trump believes the legislature should decide whether the woman has a right by the people. That's pretty clear.
I'll tell you what, let's just bring in two more guests who are going to join us. This is the host of Fearless on Outkick Tomi Lahren, and the host of No Lie and the author of Shameless, Brian Tyler Cohen. Okay, Tommy, you are a woman, the only woman on this panel. This issue of, well, first of all, let's start with something you've been very big on for the last 2 years. Joe Biden's fitness to continue being president. I'm completely bemused why somebody of his advanced age showing such signs of cognitive disrepair and rapid decline.
She's hot. Say you let me back. Oh, I don't want to feel it. I don't think I want to do the dream parasocial shit with you guys yet.
Race 4 weeks before the election, but still remain the president of the United States and commander in chief. How do you feel about that?
Sorry,
well, I'm a little bit hesitant to say that he should resign his office because I really don't want a President Kamala Harris. So I will tell you that, just to be quite frank with you. But we're expecting to hear from the current president tonight. I hope that he'll clear some of this up. But if in fact he does,
left, we all know who you're referring to. Yes.
He dropped out simply because he thought he was going to lose. Well, that's again another notch on the belt for the party that believes in democracy and they want to uphold it at all costs. I mean, dropping out 100 days before a general election because you're losing doesn't exactly scream democracy to me, Piers. But I'll tell you this: he owes the American people a lot of answers. Vice President Kamala Harris owes the people a lot of answers. What did she know? She apparently has little lunchy lunches.
I don't. People understand. People don't like the. Political parties don't have to be democratic at all. There's no because they're not the government. They're private political parties. They don't have to be democratic. There could be a political party that just literally chooses a candidate based on whatever the fuck they want, based on some super elite circle. Did the fucking, like, and that's allowed because it's a political party. They're allowed to do whatever they want because we live in a democracy where there can be multiple political parties who do things differently. Now, what they're legally allowed to do and what they ought to do is different, especially because we live in a two-party system where, obviously the Democratic Party has a lot of control over government because they're literally half the government. But, like, they don't have to be democratic at all if they don't want to be.
Joe Biden often. She's obviously seen the cognitive slippage. So we need to hear from her too. And we can't just move on. I know the Democrats want to just move on, do 100 days of Operation Coconut
They should be Democrat that they did fuck all the primaries. Yeah, true. Girls talking so fast in video. I mean, it's I have it in 2x speed.
Brat Kamala, but we still have a lot of questions and we deserve answers. They subverted the entire primary process. They should be in the hot seat for that, Piers.
Yeah,
true. Subverted the entire primary
process. It does seem to be almost a coronation going on with Kamala Harris. This is not the will of the people. It's your people power as she tries to depict it. It's the power of the grandees of the party, the donors.
I mean, like, the Biden won the primary, both of them. Admittedly, yeah, the 2020 primary was not a super great primary, because it was the incumbent president. You don't primary your incumbent. That's just not a thing political parties do. The delegates are supporting who Biden endorsed. The delegates are supporting Biden's vice president, who Biden chose, and then who Biden endorsed. Like, voting for RFK is the most fun vote. I mean, you're throwing your vote away if you think throwing your vote away is fun. Now, in this case, 80% of the Democratic voters wanted Biden to step down. Yeah, that's also true. Like,
taking their money from Biden and then suddenly give it all to Harris. And Hollywood has joined in. I don't see the people getting involved in this process at all.
But, like, he's saying suddenly give it all to Harris. Harris was on the ticket, too. Harris is on the same ticket as Biden is. She's the vice president. Biden endorsed her.
Well, I think the people, how they feel is reflected already.
How's it throwing away your vote? Because the RFK is not winning ever. Or I shouldn't say ever. Not until we get ranked choice voting.
Immediately in the polling. We just had the Reuters Ipsos poll come out in the last couple of days.
No matter how I vote, Trump will win my state. Well, I mean, the Electoral College is dumb, but okay, sure.
And it already shows Kamala Harris beating Trump 44-42. That is a poll not of donors, not of Hollywood celebrities, but of actual people.
Yeah, look, that's right. But they didn't vote for Kamala Harris to be president, right? And they didn't vote
for
her to be running
They voted for the Biden-Harris ticket. She's been the vice president for 4 years. She's already when Americans donate to the Biden-Harris campaign, they're donating to both of them. She is legally able to take advantage of the war chest that she and Joe Biden raised together. And so that's where we're at right now.
Okay, I want to play a clip. I'll start with you guys here at the desk first and then go to the other two about this. Van Jones on CNN said black men will defend Kamala Harris, and Joy Reid on MSNBC said all black people need to vote for Kamala Harris too. Let's watch these two pieces of footage.
You start insulting black women, you're going to see something you haven't seen before. Black men are not going to put up with that. I was on a phone call with 20,000 black men. The word protect came up about 1,000 times. Protect this sister. Protect this sister. We're going to protect her. Protect her. You're about to see something you haven't seen before. Look, people mess around with Hillary Clinton and said a bunch of mean stuff to her. Black men set that out. We won't set this out. So I don't think that the Republican Party understands that all the work that they did trying to get us over there, two more days of this, it's going to be a problem.
I mean, I felt quite uncomfortable watching that. Did you? I mean, is it right to suddenly make a big deal of racial divide and racial voting and so on those grounds? Is it right to look at Kamala Harris in that context if you're a black person in America?
Yeah, I'm going to speak for black people in America right now. He's a black guy talking about how blacks are going to respond to a black candidate. If you want to ask me how Jews respond to Shapiro, I can do that. But he's doing commentary on how black men are going to respond. Commentary is what people do. I don't know what the big deal is.
I've read seen a lot of Democrats in the last 2 days saying they don't want Republicans to make her race an issue. And yet here you have people like Van Jones, I have a lot of respect for him, making her race very much an issue.
You guys are struggling. One guy's complaining about lunches. You're complaining about the Republican. I understand. I'm trying to play along here. Look, I think that people can talk about her record. They can talk about her race. They can talk about whatever they want. But, the idea that she's a DEI hire, she was a United States senator. I know, but I'm saying that people have every right to be proud of the fact that an African woman, Caribbean American woman, Indian, whatever, all over different things.
You can't even figure out what she is.
I know, but people complicate it.
Oh my God. You can't even figure out what she is.
But what I'm trying to say is she has a history. And I'm not going to debate whether she's black or not. I think that's...
Yeah, bro. Okay, well, you can time him out, Kyle, if you want to do a favor and time him out.
Absolutely. Where Democrats want to mentioning that. No. That is a debate. If you look on social media, that is where Democrats are sucking Republicans. I'm going to make this tell me that she's not black. I'm not going to debate whether she's black or not. She's not a DEI. I'm not going to talk about whether she's black or not.
However, Joe Biden did say he wanted to have a female vice president.
Well, now, strap in, white guys. We're going to have a white vice president under Kamala.
The DEI white president pick, it's going to happen. Like, that's what's funny is unironically, we're only discussing I guess they're not all straight white males because Buttigieg is gay, but like we're discussing white males from swing states for although Peter Buttigieg isn't from a swing state either, for vice president for like the same DEI reasons. Like,
let me bring in Tommy. Tommy, it seems to me there is a contradiction here between this demand for the Republicans not to make her skin color or her gender an
issue. Thank you. I am Gumbo.
Issue here, and yet here you have Van Jones and you have Joy Reid and others very much making her skin color an issue.
Exactly. So the word DEI or the acronym DEI.
This guy looks like Doug. Right? I mean, I think so. Sure, man. Look, that looks like Doug. Kinda. I'm right. That's a bad picture to compare, but behind you looks like Doug Duck. Lucifer from the show Lucifer? Oh, kinda, yeah.
Has become almost like woke did a few years ago. It was so celebrated by the left, and now they're running away from it. I don't know why you guys run away from your own words on the left. But listen, you can't tout somebody as the potential first female black president and then say, but Republicans aren't allowed to say that. And just as you articulated, Piers, this has been driving me nuts for days. There have been so many people that say on the left, you must vote for her if you're black. You got to vote for Kamala Harris because she's black. If you're
Is you tapping Ice Spice? I wish, bro.
woman, you got to band together and vote for her because she's a woman. But then if Republicans say, oh, you're only voting for her because she's a black woman, then all
Dude, can we get Ice Spice as vice president?
of a sudden, how dare you? You're racist and you're sexist. You can't have it both ways. Democrats, liberals, leftists, you either celebrate DEI or we're not allowed to talk about DEI, but you can't have it both ways. So either you're excited about it or you're not. Pick a lane. Operation Coconut Tree is underway. God help you.
Okay, Brian, you said this. You made a video saying
Bro,
that Kamala
Coconut
Harris
Tree is underway.
Trump's nightmare. You said if you could scientifically engineer the worst possible candidate for Trump to run against, she would probably look like Kamala Harris. Why would she look like Kamala Harris?
Well, instead of this election becoming a referendum on Joe Biden's age, now it's a referendum on two things. It is, one, the fact that you now have a prosecutor going up against a convicted felon, and she is able to, no pun intended, prosecute this case extremely effectively. And we saw that in her Wisconsin speech right off the bat, where she didn't shy away from this issue. She didn't hide from it. She went right in. She talked about how she spent her career fighting against con men and frauds and sexual predators and cheats. Donald Trump is all of those things. So that's the first thing. The second is that she spent the last year going around the country, crisscrossing the country, speaking to young people, going to colleges, talking about the issue of abortion and reproductive rights. And Donald Trump has come out and taking credit for appointing 3 Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe, and he is proud of it. He talks about it over and over and over again. So you have a prosecutor against a convicted felon, and you have somebody who is responsible for the deeply, deeply unpopular policy of stripping women's reproductive rights, versus somebody whose goal here is to make sure that she signs legislation to codify reproductive rights.
Right, and George, let me ask you, George, about this clip. This is actually J.D. Vance talking about Kamala Harris and calling her a childless cat lady. Let's take a look at it.
Oh, dude, all the childish rhetoric about Kamala Harris is so funny, dude. Dude, it's so... I posted this on my Instagram story. We are literally living in an episode of The Boys. And it, like, all of the like stuff about, oh, Kamala Harris is childless and I bet she's had abortions, like that is straight from Firecracker's mouth, bro.
In this country, via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
I mean, that kind of rhetoric's going to get dug up about J.D. Vance, who's now the vice president of Trump's choice.
Also, with AOC is like not even 35 yet, which kind of makes sense that she shouldn't have children. Like,
wasn't my first pick.
Right, but he is the pick. Right, how potentially damaging now that it's not Joe Biden there, but it is a woman that J.D. Vance has called a childless cat lady. In other words, if you had two guys who talked derogatorily about women against a young, like by Trump's case, younger woman, how problematic could that be?
Well, Piers, look, everybody's going to try to take things people said about Kamala Harris in the past, but I love how everybody tries to talk about what they say about Kamala, and nobody takes outrage on how Trump's been treated unfairly by every single politician in the Democratic Party.
My God.
Well, Democrats have railroaded this man since the day he came down the golden escalators, and all of a sudden they get outraged because Trump said some, whatever BS about Kamala Harris. J.D. Vance speaking about Kamala Harris, that's J.D. Vance's views. Are we now going to say that all the views and words out of J.D. Vance's mouth are Trump's endorsed by Trump?
Politically, yeah.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, J.D. Vance has quite literally been endorsed by Trump. Trump chose him as his VP.
If that's the case, then everything that they've said and done is on their record, and they're now attached to Donald Trump.
If that's the case, then Kamala is Joe Biden 2.0, and we should tie this entire disastrous administration on Kamala Harris. And she's absolutely going to run for president.
How problematic could it
be? Thank you, George Santos. Kamala Harris is Joe Biden 2.0. Please, let's do it. Please, let Kamala run on Biden's record. Biden's record is so good. I've done so much reading on Biden's records too. Okay, thanks for timing him out, Kyle. I don't want to lose it. I did so much reading on Biden's record.
Now that it's not Biden, but it's Kamala Harris, J.D. Vance is kind of rhetoric about that kind of thing.
I don't know. I don't believe many people are persuadable in this election. You basically have a very small number of low information voters in the middle and a handful of states. But there was already kind of a referendum on the crazy of Trump. That's one of the reasons he got thrown out of office. And I think that to some degree, this kind of conversation about cat ladies, this conversation about DEI, about woke, I think it reminds the American people in that moderate center that they don't want to go back to that craziness. They want competence, and that's what they've had recently, and they're probably going to stick with it now that they got rid of the old guy they didn't want to vote for.
What competence are you talking about, Anthony? Please, can you entertain me and amuse me for a second?
Sure.
Hold on. I'm going to ask you this. The border, is that competence?
Well, if you think that
is it competence? Yes or no?
Hold on a second. Donald Trump said in 2018-19 he needed new laws to defend the border. What happened to that?
Is this border competence? Yes or no?
No, it's absolutely a mess.
Okay,
it was a mess in 2019.
Competence? Yes
These
or
are the
no?
same laws. Inflation is 50%. That's the Fed target. Yes. That's
let me bring in Tomi.
That's everybody trying to.
Let me bring in Tomi.
I'm going to tell it to you.
Hang on. Let me bring in Tomi. Tomi.
Oh. He should have mentioned some of the statistics about the known gotaways going down and about Biden deporting a greater percentage of immigrants than Trump did as well. Like,
seems to me that Trump would be much better advised, as would J.D. Vance, rather than going ad hominem with Kamala Harris, however ad hominem she gets with Trump. Let us try and rise above it. It's not his greatest quality doing that, but to rise above it and pick her off on her record while being vice president, most notably given her position as a kind of immigration czar, when really by any definition of her performance, she's been a complete train wreck. She said, don't come in, and 8 million people promptly came in. Would you think that's a better strategy for Trump Vance, is to just literally go after the record, not the woman?
I agree wholeheartedly. As much as I get a chuckle when Donald Trump calls her dumb as rocks Kamala or cackling Kamala, I laugh at that. But
why is the point? Biden is a giant racist who loves to deport brown people. True.
I'm also a diehard Trump supporter and a Trump voter. But I do worry, and I've been cautioning my own party and Trump supporters about this for the last few days, that it's not going to play well when Donald Trump does it with moderates and with the suburban women that he needs to win over. So I agree with you. Donald Trump needs to channel every ounce of presidential attitude that he has in his being, which for him might not be so easy. And he has to channel that, and he has to focus on policy, and he has to focus on rising above and really uniting the country at this point. Because if he just goes on the tirade,
thank God he's incapable of that, and we don't even know what his policies are. He's in favor of tariffs, but we don't even know how many. Or sorry, we don't know how much they're going to be. Whether they're going to be 50% or 60% or 10%, or he won't commit to that. He won't commit to his position on abortion. He won't commit to anything, bro. Like his position on Ukraine is ambiguous too. His position on Israel is a little less ambiguous because we know what he did with Israel in his last administration, I guess. But though, for real though, how much of that is but by the way, welcome to the stream, Omaha, haha. Tommy will never have a Fox News show, though. True. She get it a big on OnlyFans, though. True. She can't do it because the conservative values are against it. But how much of that is just a product of increased border encounters? What do you mean? I mean, the problem is, it's hard to argue that there's been any substantive change in policy when Biden is deporting a greater percentage of those who cross than Trump did. Obviously, there's been more crossings than under Trump, but if they're deporting a higher percentage of people than Trump did, then it's kind of hard to argue that there's been a super substantive change in policy when it comes to how we treat migrants, right?
Name calling, it's not going to play well with the people that he needs to win. We might love it. We think it's.
So you're saying greater percentage and not just absolute value? The absolute number of people who have crossed the border is higher under Biden than it was under Trump. But as a percentage of people who did cross, Biden has deported more of them than Trump did. And Biden is also, it is true, for example, Biden got rid of the Remain in Mexico policy. You know what he instituted instead? Deport to Mexico, or deport to Venezuela, or deport to Nicaragua. He resumed flights to Venezuela and Nicaragua to deport people there, and they get no asylum hearing now. Trump had his Remain. Why am I dying? I don't understand. Trump had his Remain in Mexico policy, where people would wait in Mexico for an asylum date. Biden just said, fuck that. You're going to Mexico and you're never getting an asylum date. How many migrant civilians will Fox News cover under breaking news this summer and into the fall? Over, under, I'm guessing 4. Sorry, migrant caravans. Footage from 2018, true.
Hilarious, but he really has to buckle down. Same thing with JD Vance. And to the abortion point, you guys all know where I stand on abortion. I'm much more moderate than most conservatives are on this issue, and expect Democrats to resurrect 2022 and try to win on abortion, especially with Kamala as their nominee. It's going to be a blind spot for the Republican Party, and I would highly advise that JD Vance not make any super pro-life comments if he wants Donald Trump to win. It's going to be a huge blind spot. So that's just my warning. Some conservatives are not going to like to hear me say that, but it's the truth, and y'all need to hear it.
I think you're completely right. Brian, it seems to me a question of unity. One trick that Kamala Harris missed in her speech, which it was not a bad speech at all, but one thing she didn't do, she didn't allude to the assassination attempt on Trump. And it's only been 9 days since someone tried to murder Donald Trump and actually shot him in the ear, killing him by a quarter of an inch. Would it not have been a smart move, in between calling him, a sexual predator and a con man and a fake and blah, 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 very ad hominem stuff? Would it not have been a smart move in terms of unity had she just taken a moment to acknowledge the assassination attempt and say how pleased she was that he survived it? Something of that nature.
I find it so bizarre.
So distracting it is, yeah.
On the adults in the room to create unity. Where was everybody for the last 6 years calling for unity when Donald Trump was president? And as far as the violence is concerned, I feel like any effort to try to pin again the onus on Democrats in terms of lowering the temperature in this country is just a testament to the fact that the Republicans are graded on the hurt. Remember, it was not the Democrats. While we're talking about political violence, it wasn't the Democrats who laughed at Paul Pelosi being bludgeoned with a hammer. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't.
Yes, true. Yes, and fucking and cheer that on. And the Second Amendment guys quote about Hillary Clinton and literally running on locking Hillary Clinton up. Yes.
Democrats called for military tribunals for Liz Cheney. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats who laughed at a kidnapping plot against Gretchen Whitmer. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats.
Yes, the Whitmer plot.
Called for General Mark Milley to be executed. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats.
But we have to read about the Whitmer plot because I don't know that much about it. We got to do a research day on that.
Baseball bat photo with Alvin Bragg and threatening death and destruction if he was charged. So in all of these examples, Piers, it is not the Democrats who've done this. It's not the Democrats who've validated the use of political violence as a tool in this country. And it shouldn't be on the Democrats all of a sudden to be the adults in the room.
All right, Brian. To a point, Lord Copper, as we would say in the UK, right? It is the Democrats who for 8 years have screamed that he's Adolf Hitler. That's fairly violent rhetoric. You're comparing him directly to an absolute genocidal maniac.
Have any how many mainstream Democrats have referred to him as Hitler? I don't know. People have referred to him as acting like a dictator, but that's kind of fair because He kind of does act like a dictator.
Who murdered 12 million people, including 6 million Jews in a Holocaust. So when you do that, that is violent rhetoric.
Piers, if Donald Trump acts like a fascist, it is not the Democrats' fault for calling him a fascist.
He is Hitler?
No, absolutely not. But I'm saying he does act like a fascist. He does want to consolidate power in the executive branch. He does want to send the military into American cities. He does want to.
You have no problem comparing him to Adolf Hitler.
I am calling him a fascist. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, let me bring that to you.
By the way, doesn't J.D. Vance call him now?
He didn't. He was clearly wrong.
And didn't Donald Trump use language like vermin of the people, like basically echoing the
Do you like to compare him to Adolf
Hitler? True.
I don't like comparing people to Hitler, but I will say that...
There's a but? There's a but there?
Here it comes. Yeah. If you talk like a fascist, if you act like a fascist, tell me a little bit about this mass deportation, Piers. Oh, actually, you can help with this.
No, I can help you.
Well, hold on. You're my guest here. You're my guest supposed to represent... I know you want to play part of Donald Trump's defender, but let's have
I'm part of the moderator.
Actually, both can do it. Or all four of you can do it.
Anthony, try and contain yourself. Who was the biggest mass deporter of people in American presidential history?
Barack Obama.
Eisenhower.
Barack Obama.
Actually, the last a lot of people...
Okay, wait, the deportations these people are doing are like way different. Like Obama signed the whatever DACA stuff to like keep people of children in the people already in the U.S. like safe, children, right? Trump is like literally trying to deport millions of people who are already here. I don't know, man. There's something wrong with the system in the U.S. when he can't run for president as a convicted felon, but he can't vote. True. I mean, yeah. I mean, you should be able to. I think felons should be able to vote. So, yeah, that's the solution there. Although I think if you engage in insurrection, he probably shouldn't be able to run. And Trump, kind of did that. Kind of seems like he did that. Now, there is an argument to be made that maybe you should require a criminal conviction for insurrection in order to actually be barred from running for office, but...
You asked me about mass deportation.
How's it going? You want to talk about Obama, you want to talk about Biden. How's the mass deportation happen? You're holding up signs at your convention. How's that going to work? Just walk me through it. I just want to understand.
Let me ask you again. Who was the biggest deporter of people in American history? Which president?
Eisenhower.
No, Barack Obama.
Eisenhower and Operation Wetback had more.
Barack Obama deported 3 million people.
Right? The Democrats are very tough on the border. Democrats are tough on the border.
No, they were.
Obama, Biden was on the border. Thank you, pal.
Barack Obama, Dianne Feinstein, late Dianne Feinstein. They were great on the border.
So we know how Democrats do it.
No.
You got the poster, but you don't have
It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Start with every whole.
Oh my God, they're going. Hold on, let me put it 1.5 times speed so it's more understandable.
No.
Thank you, pal. I agree with you.
Barack Obama, Dianne Feinstein, late Dianne Feinstein. They were great on the border.
So we know how Democrats. We know how Democrats do it.
No.
How do you guys do it?
Absolutely not.
You've got the poster, but you don't have a candidate.
No, it's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Oh, good. Hold on, Piers. I want to hear this.
Start with every hotel here in Manhattan.
And do what?
Just empty them, vacate them out.
What do you mean vacate them out?
Get them back home.
Who's going to do that? Who are you going to hire to do that?
You have ICE. You already have the system in place.
Okay, so they're going to call you ICE. By the way, ICE is about 4,000 people. You're going to deport 12. Okay, tell me a little bit more small government Republicans. You want to expand ICE to walk the streets, ask people for their papers.
We did that after 9/11. Anthony, you were a member of Congress.
What did we say about fascism?
You were a congressman.
I know it's not
after 9/11.
By the way, where are you going to deport them if we don't have extradition?
Does deporting 3 million people make you a fascist then, by your criteria?
No, it makes you one of the best presidents in American history.
So you agree with mass deportation?
Obama
agree with mass deportation?
Obama, Biden, we know how that is.
So you agree with mass deportation?
I'm going to answer your question. You don't need to answer it 3 times. I answer every question. Mass deportation is a poster for Republicans. We saw how Obama, Biden do it. We know how they do it. Now, this is about the 2024. Pardon me.
So it's fine if you do.
Pardon me. No.
Fine if you're Democrats.
By the way, if Donald Trump stood up and said, I want to be like Obama, Biden, I might vote for him. Is that what he's saying? Is that what you're saying, George?
So if he said...
You want to be like Obama, Biden? I want to make sure I understand.
Anthony,
what about the one who has lynchy? Does she want to do that too?
Okay, let me come.
You guys, well, listen, at least you emulate the right people.
Let me come back to Tommy.
Oh,
Tommy.
oh my God, he's not going to be able to elaborate that much, but goddamn. Okay. Immigrants illegal included keep our barely hanging economy running. True. They reduce the deficit. They dude, I can't believe how economically literate conservatives are with the immigration stuff, especially with the dumb this is one of the most retarded talking points ever. I don't use that word lightly. I don't use that word often. I don't use it lightly. When they say, look at all the job growth going to foreign workers. Look at all the jobs created go to foreign workers. Motherfucker, boomers retired en masse after COVID, okay? Immigrants are the one who picked up the slack and keep the fucking country running. I don't want to hear this. All the jobs are going to foreign-born people. Motherfucker, they're the ones working in the grocery store after your boomer-ass dad retired, okay? So, they're the ones keeping our economy afloat. If you want our economy to look more like European countries, that didn't accept as many immigrants, then that's up to you. Like, what?
It does make me laugh when I hear Anthony talk about fascism, and one of the criteria is mass deportation, and then he salutes Barack Obama for being the greatest.
Of a bunch of police officers to walk the street. Don't misquote me, Piers.
For
Oh
being
my
the mass.
God, the way these people went about it was like way different. Obama protected people who were already here. Trump wants to do the exact opposite. He wants to use the military to parole the fucking streets and try to round up immigrants to deport them.
The biggest mass deporter in the history of the United States in terms of any president, which he was. 3 million people he deported, right? So mass deportation is fascism if Trump plans it, but if it's done by Barack Obama, it
Parents
is
are such hypocrites. When my grandma on their way out, they used my grandparents' house cleaner to basically be their pre-hospice care at $20 an hour. If they did it legitimately, it would have cost them like $80 an hour. Yeah, true.
magnificent thing which Trump should aspire to do. I can't quite follow that, can you?
It's like Trump hiring immigrant labor at his fucking golf courses. I think it was at his golf courses. It was somewhere. But that's just being a smart businessman. You know, that's just being a smart businessman. He's allowed to be a smart businessman, but also be anti-immigration. You know, obviously.
Sense, Piers. We know that. But I also say the majority of the American people support mass deportation, including Democrats. We learned about that a couple months ago in a poll. But what I don't understand with Democrats is that they're just clutching their pearls over a mass deportation effort when we have 10 million people that came across our southern border illegally, and that's not including the gotaways. They have no problem with that. People can just invade our country, break our immigration laws, no problem. But then if you take those people that came in the last 3.5 years and you said, okay, you broke the law, now you have to go back because you broke the law and you came in mass to our country, then all of a sudden they clutch their pearls in horror. Are you kidding me? That's what we need to do, because your president, your sleepy president, allowed 10 million plus people in, and it's not sustainable. Your own governors and your own mayors know that it's not sustainable. So the open border doesn't work.
Not sustainable. By the way, they're reducing our deficit, and they're working, and they're working jobs, and some of them are probably even providing jobs for other people.
To fix an open border is to close it and then also deport the people that came in under it. That's just basic logic. I know you guys don't operate.
And also our population is shrinking, so we need them now more than ever.
On that, but please save me your horror and your outrage.
Okay, Brian, save us your horror and outrage. I mean, this whole issue of immigration, I don't think any fair-minded Democrat in America could possibly look at the number of people that come over the border illegally in...
Do immigrants pay into Social Security if they don't do immigrants with work authorization pay into Social Security? Immigrants with work authorization pay into Social Security. Legal immigrants who have obtained work authorization and a Social Security number are required to pay. This is people who have gotten a Social Security number, though. If an immigrant crosses illegally, but receives work, or I should name it crosses illegally, claims asylum. I like human Keynes plan, 9% sales tax, 9% income tax, 9% property tax. Get rid of property tax, replace it with land value tax. Is that a 9% flat income tax? There are all arguments you can make for a flat income tax, but like I think if we're doing income tax at all, I don't really like income tax that much. So if we're doing income tax at all, I think it should probably be progressive. See its work authorization. Do they pay into Social Security? I don't know how payroll taxes work for this stuff. I don't know if you only pay payroll taxes if you're... Okay. Work authorization for asylum seekers. Individuals who have been granted asylum and are pending asylum applications are eligible for work authorization. This allows them to legally work and contribute to Social Security. Okay. But this is a... Okay, so you can apply for Social Security once you have work authorization. But I don't know if they... Do you get Social Security even if you're not a U.S. citizen? All employers must withhold Social Security taxes from workers' paycheck regardless of their immigration status. This means that even asylum seekers temporary authorization are contributing to Social Security as long as they work illegally. I hear a lot about illegal immigrants voting for Republicans. Is there any validity to that? not in any significant way. Technically, there are certain, like, people get mad at, like, Arizona's, I think Arizona has something called, like, a federal-only ballot. It's meant for, so in order to vote in Arizona in state elections, you have to be able to prove state residency. And for, like, for example, for, like, out-of-state college students, they have federal-only ballots. Basically, because you don't, like, if for people who might not be able to, like, prove that they live in Arizona, they have federal-only ballots. In theory, that will maybe let illegal immigrants vote, but there's no real evidence that this is any significant way affecting any elections. And then some places, like I think New York, lets immigrants vote in local elections, regardless of their citizenship status, but that's only for local elections, not federal elections. There's no good evidence that illegal immigrants have any way shifted any outcomes, at least. Like it seems like it's, if any illegal immigrants vote, it's a very low number.
The tenure of President Biden and not share everybody else's view that is completely unsustainable and clearly has been a failed policy on the southern border. Do you think it's been a success or a failure?
Although the steel man of that argument is the census doesn't take into account who's a citizen and who's a non-citizen. And since some immigrants usually move to Democrat cities, like if, like, let's say a lot of illegal immigrants move to San Francisco because that's like a sanctuary city who doesn't deport them, then what will happen is the census counts those people. And since the census is relied upon for making, like, house apportionments, San Francisco will get more, or like California will get more seats in the House because they're counting illegal immigrants as part of the population. Although, I mean, it's arguably not even arguably outweighed by the fact that, like, because of how our House is structured, I think, like, Wyoming population, I think Wyoming is like 500,000 people. And if you look at California House, or how many people does a California House seat represent? Like, some of California's congressional districts have, like, higher populations than population 740. See, like, Wyoming has a House district. So, like, there are many House districts in red states that have populations lower than a lot of the districts in a lot of blue states. So even the House, to some extent, even though it's supposed to be proportional, still benefits Republicans to some extent, just because like, there are more Democrat voters here, but they get one seat versus Wyoming still gets one. House seats ranked by population. Average per citizen, Alabama, 718,000. Although, I mean, you can look at there are some cases where it probably benefit fucking Republicans as well. But anyway.
Well, all of this might suggest that we need some legislation on the border.
And then the Senate and the Electoral College both benefit Republicans a lot. So,
and in fact, we had 3 senators, Kirsten Sinema, Chris Murphy, and Republican James Lankford, negotiate a border bill that was not only the most conservative border bill that any Democrat could have signed, but it had no comprehensive immigration reform, which is historically the absolute condition that Democrats require. Instead, it had Ukraine aid that was attached to it, which passed anyway, which means there was nothing that the Republicans gave up. And yet Donald Trump issued his clarion call to Republicans because he thought it was too important to preserve the issue of the border as a campaign issue, and so he wouldn't allow this to be solved. For Tommy and George, spare us the grandstanding about the border, when I didn't hear either one of you come out and say that this border bill needed to be passed when Donald Trump was making sure that it didn't get passed because he wanted to make sure the border was as chaotic as humanly possible.
Okay, I want to switch.
So it's Donald Trump's fault that the border's chaotic.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, in 2019, Donald Trump sat in the Oval
in this case, I mean, yeah, kinda. That kinda is his fault. Like, he's the one that didn't want the Republicans to sign this legislation.
I can't do this without laws. My distinguished friend who's on this panel says, with common sense, no, you need laws to do it. Donald Trump couldn't pass the law in 2019. Joe Biden was prepared to do it here, and Donald Trump vetoed it. And by the way, I fact-checked it while we were waiting. It's actually Clinton who did the most deportations of any.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's Obama.
I just checked it.
No,
I just checked it.
I've written columns about it. It's not
well, Paul, you wrote your column in the New York Post, therefore it must be true.
I will bet you $1,000 to charity that Obama deported.
I don't have $1,000. However, I bet you $10.
I'll bet you $1.
I'll bet you $1.
Okay. Obama deported more people than Clinton. It's a fact. He also dropped more bombs in a calendar year than any other American.
By the way, you know, and all of those. Pierce, hold on.
You Trumpers are all the same.
I'm not a Trump.
I want to say.
Is that even? That might be true, actually. But I mean, Clinton bombed Serbia, right?
It's about the deportation thing. We have laws around doing this stuff. If Donald Trump says we're going to use the law right now, the people that are here, despite what this person on our panel said, people here under the asylum laws are here lawfully.
They're fraudulently.
They have to be adjudicated. When they're here under
the asylum claims 9 years back, people are walking to the United States.
No, George, I can say this because you were there later than I was. You did nothing to increase our capacity to throw out people in asylum. That's what the compromise was about.
I was a big advocate to double our immigration judges so that we can double the process.
In that case, on this issue, you'd be.
It was that guy. Is that Carlos Danger? This guy? Or this is Anthony Weiner, and this is George Santos, disgraced former Republican congressman who was expelled for Congress for lying about multiple things.
Better than Trump on immigration. Congratulations.
All right, George Santos is better than Trump. It's a good way to win that particular part.
I'll take the win.
We're running out of time, but I want to go to Tomi quickly just to talk about this issue of Benjamin Netanyahu coming to address a joint session of Congress. It's just to boost support for his war, obviously, in Gaza. A lot of people, mainly Democrats, staying away from showing any support for this speech. What do you feel about that? I mean, in a democracy like America, when it's one of America's great allies around the world, should people be able to stay away?
Should people be able to stay away? People should absolutely have the right to stay away, but
No, they shouldn't act like children and stay away. If we just sit there and listen to Zelensky address us how many times now and beg for money, then we should be able to all come together and listen to the leader of the only democracy in the Middle East. But I think it's also very telling that Vice President Kamala Harris, who is your presumptive nominee, who wants to prove to the American people that she can handle foreign policy, something she's never really handled before, that she has instead decided to go to a sorority instead of hearing the leader from, even if she disagrees with the war, that's on her, but to even go and listen and preside over the Senate, which
go to the sorority, sister. Yes, don't listen to Netanyahu. Based, unironically.
is part of her job. The fact that she is instead deciding to go yuck it up at a sorority is really telling.
She also, to be clear, because there were the insane pro-Palestine protests outside like the Capitol. Oh, I don't know where the statement. I don't know where I put the statement. But she did make a statement saying, hey, these protests are a little insane and maybe we should support Israel. But she did not go to Netanyahu's speech, which is, I mean, I think that's fair. I don't think it really matters that much. Like, she's still going to support Israel a decent amount. Like,
telling, and it's exactly why they call her Brat Kamala and think it's so great. Well, it's an unserious person who's unserious about proving herself to the American people. She was not elected to be your nominee. She was anointed your nominee by all counts. And now she doesn't even want to show up to do the job she has right now because she wants to go speak to a sorority. Give me a break. What a joke.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, do you feel comfortable about Democratic lawmakers?
I mean, or maybe she's just making a statement about not supporting Netanyahu, because Netanyahu tends to be a little insane.
Israel's prime minister like this, whatever the view of the war?
I think that as far as Benjamin Netanyahu is concerned, I think that he is focused on his own self-serving interests.
If you think the war is, like, significantly immoral, or Netanyahu is a significantly immoral person, then you probably shouldn't go preside over his speech. I think that's that's like the most milquetoast thing that you could do, is just say, I'm not going to your speech.
I think that the Democratic Party recognizes that. That is why he's become such a lightning rod, because this whole thing is about prolonging the war to help himself.
Okay, we're going to wrap now. So final word to you guys.
He's actively resisted a lot of the ceasefire proposals because if the war ends, he's probably going to get brought up. Those corruption charges that they're charging him with is probably going to get brought back.
Sitting here. Thank you. It's been great. By the way,
really enjoyed it.
Really enjoyed the debate. When's this going to wash up, do you think, in November?
Look, I'll say this. I believe a Donald Trump victory is inevitable because the American people are watching in real time what's been taking place. The democracy that Trump threatens so much is almost a footnote compared to what Democrats are doing in the maneuvers. Donald Trump is not running against a candidate. He's running against an entire system, a system that is willing to do whatever it takes to take him out. They are cheating, stealing, and lying all across, making sure that they can absolutely keep hold of power. Just look at what they did. Not a single Democrat vote from the primary was taken into account. They did not allow an open process. And the one telling thing is Obama not endorsing Kamala and asking for an open open convention signals that I think he's still sane. And to compare that to Hillary Clinton and whatnot, look, Hillary Clinton is a has-been that has absolute no say. So my take is Trump wins this inevitably.
Okay, Anthony, two questions. One, is it a nailed on certainty now that Kamala Harris will be the nominee, or could there still be a surprise?
It's very hard for there to be a surprise. 300 delegates have to send a letter to put someone into nomination. There's no one to take the nomination. There's no one who wants the job behind it. It's going to be her.
And will she be officially confirmed at the convention?
No, it's going to happen sooner. It's going to happen sometime next week. They're going to do a virtual roll call to accommodate some shenanigans going on in Ohio.
And then pretty much this whole race sort of ticks along. The Democrats have their convention. It'll be a celebration of Kamala, rail behind her. Yes. And then after Labor Day, then we get into the serious stuff running up to the election. Is that really what's going to happen?
Traditionally, the polls don't mean much until after. You're right. Until after the conventions, after Labor Day. You see a lot of bumps now. A guy got, one candidate got shot. You had a convention. You had changes. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to the polls, but you're probably right. After Labor Day.
And who do you actually believe is going to win?
I believe in 2016, the focus was on Hillary Clinton and she lost. I believe in 2020, the focus was on Donald Trump and he lost. I think it's going to go back to now being on Donald Trump again, a reminder of what that was like, and I think Kamala wins.
And do you think if it had been Biden against Trump, that Trump would have beaten Biden?
Yes.
So you think it's been a really transformative switch?
This has been a really good week for us, yes. After 25 days of just horrible since the debate.
Guys, thank you very much. Let's do it again. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. And thank you both to Tomi and Brian as well. It's been a terrific panel. I appreciate it.
I mean, I don't think it's as conclusive that Kamala wins. I think it's basically 50-50 who wins at this point. But we'll see. It's way too early to fucking call anything.